So I've been asked to provide a little video on polymorphism. So what I've done is I've worked up an example, and I'm going to walk you through the example to demonstrate how polymorphism works without giving away too much for the homework. So what I've done is I've created a class called animal. And I've kept this very, very simple, so understand that some of the homework problems won't be as simple as this, but this should give you a good feel for how polymorphism works. So you'll see that I have only two member variables, type and name, which we're not going to really use all that much. Then I have under the public section a constructor, very simple, and then a virtual function called speak. So speak is where we're going to demonstrate polymorphism here in just a minute. So then I create a dog class that derives from animal. So all it does is it has a constructor that calls the base class constructor to set up the type and the name. And then I implement the method, or the function, speak. So a dog is going to return woof. And that's it. Again, I'm trying to keep it very simple, so just to emphasize the polymorphism, not the other parts of inheritance. Next, I create a cat class, again deriving from animal, with a constructor that calls the base class constructor. The animal constructor. I get my terms confused with Java sometimes. And then I implement speak for a cat, which says meow. Okay, so that's all we need to get into our main program to demonstrate how polymorphism works. So here's what we have to do. To be able to implement polymorphism, we have to create a container class, a container type that has to be of a pointer. So I create an animals array of type animal, and so notice I've made it a pointer. And so I'm going to put a dog and a cat in there, so I just have two elements right there. Okay, so to put those elements into the array, I have to use dynamic memory. Okay, so you have to call new. So I say animal sub 0 is equal to new dog. Its type is dog, and its name is Fido. We don't use those, but I had them in the constructor, so we're going to do that anyway. Then the second element, animal sub 1, is a new cat of type cat, and its name is Kitty. Okay, then, so notice that these are placed, I've got a dog and a cat, but they're placed inside an array of type animal. This works because dog and cat derive from animal. So here's where polymorphism comes up. I want to be able to have each of the animals in my array identify themselves. Of course, they can't say their name, but they can speak in their special way. So I have a loop, and in the loop I'm going to access each element of the array. So animal sub I, and then we have to use the special arrow notation to call the speak function for each type. Can't use the dot operator. You have to use arrows when you're doing dynamic memory with pointers like this. So animal sub I, arrow, that's just a dash with a greater than sign, and then call the speak function. So when I run this, let me bring that where you can see it a little bit better. The dog goes woof and the cat goes meow. That's what I'm trying to demonstrate about polymorphism. The compiler figures out at runtime, based on the type of object that it is, what kind of, or what member function to call. It's a dog, so it calls the speak member function for a dog in animal sub 0, and in animal sub 1, it calls the speak function for a cat member function, which is meow. So that is in essence how polymorphism works. I will post this code along with the video in this week's content, not in last week's, in this week's content. So you can be looking for it there. Of course, if you're watching this, you've already found it, but I will send out an announcement, which you'll again have seen before you hear this, saying where to find all this. So thanks, and please email me if you have any questions.